Do not repay anyone evil for evil. They come at you with evil, absorb it like Jesus did. If it's possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. That's definitely what Christians are doing right now, culturally. Do not take revenge, my dear friends. And then listen to this. This is where we'll end. But leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, it is mine to avenge. I will repay. Oh, goodness. This is where this lands for us and why it's so important. We can live in the Western world and sip our little lattes at Starbucks and take one, our introductory to philosophy class at college and be like, you know what I don't like? I don't like a God of wrath. I like a God of love. I like a God who never gets angry. I like a God who accepts everyone into heaven no matter who they are. I like a God who never gets jacked up. He's just, he's just like that old uncle I've got who walks around the garden and winks at me and likes to play puzzles. That's the God that I like. And all this wrath stuff, what is all this? But it really does take living in the modern world in warm spaces to come up with that philosophy. Because I want to take you on an airplane and go into the jungle of Cambodia or the Sudan, where men come through and rape and pillage and kill women, take the girls, and you as a father have to wake up in the morning and never get justice in this life at all. And then ask yourself whether you're going to even flinch at the concept that God is going to get those guys one day. This is what Miroslav Volf, the philosopher who lived in Yugoslavia and watched hundreds of thousands of people slaughtered, he said, I used to think that about God. He shouldn't have any wrath. He shouldn't get angry, until I lived and watched hundreds of thousands of people killed and 3 million people displaced. And then I realized, he says this, that the theologizing of violence, that God gets to do it, is actually the thing that lets me wake up in the morning. That one day he's going to carry out justice. And that puts steel in my spine to be able to face the day, even though I lost everything. And then he says this, it takes the quiet of a suburb for the birth of the thesis that human nonviolence is a result of a God who refuses to judge. In a scorched land soaked in the blood of the innocent, that idea will invariably die like many other pleasant captivities of the liberal mind. And so we challenge ourselves and go, maybe it's actually the best thing that we have a God of pure love and wrath who will mete out, and this is important, perfect, exacting judgment on every single person who lives. Everyone. And it's all going to be different. Every individual is going to get their own day before him. And that's the point. People are like, well, doesn't God just treat everyone the same? No, of course not. And if you go read the Gospels, go look at how Jesus did ministry. He didn't treat everyone the same. He'd be like, there'd be thousands of people listening to the sermon. He goes, I'll choose you 12. They're like, oh. And then within the 12, he chose 3, right? He showed favoritism. The other 12 are like, wait, where are they going? He likes them better than you. He's going to pour some more time into them. What? And then he shows up in a city and everyone's sick and everyone's dying and they need help. And he just walks through everybody, heals one guy. And then he goes, okay, I'm out. Hey, wait, what about my guy? Remember the guy who comes to Jesus? He's like, what do I need to do to gain eternal life? And he goes, I want you, it says, knowing he was rich, I want you to sell everything. Give it to the poor, and then you'll get eternal life. The Maserati, the Tesla, the place in Tahoe, the second boat. I want you to sell it all, give it to the poor, and then you can get eternal life. And the guy's like, forget that, I'm out. And then the guy on the cross is sitting beside Jesus. He's like, what do I need to do to get eternal life? He's like, oh, nothing, don't worry about it. We'll see you in about 10 minutes. Don't you think the rich guy, if he was there, be like, whoa, question from the rear. Why does he get in like that? Because Jesus is going to deal with you differently. He's going to deal with you differently. He's going to deal with you differently. He's going to deal with you. Everybody is going to get their thing from the evil to the good, and it's going to be meted out perfectly and exacting. But then here is the question. There's only two ways this plays out in eternity. One is you get the wrath, and the other way is that Jesus took it for you. That's the gospel. You are either going to feel it, or you're going to let Jesus take it for you. And he did. He took it on the cross. He got beaten. He got scourged. He got destroyed. And it wasn't just atoning for your sin. That was a massive part of it. It wasn't just destroying demons. That was a part of it. It was taking on, this is the word propitiation in the New Testament. 3 times it's used. He was taking on the wrath of God and satisfying it in himself so that you wouldn't have to feel it ever. And that's the basis by which you can do any of this blessing. Because you're like, okay, I got eternal life now. My reputation has been buried in Jesus. So I don't need to defend myself. I can bless those who persecute me because this life is not all there is.